Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about hand lettering for art journaling and some techniques and styles and ideas just to get you going on that. So hope you enjoy the video today. So hand lettering is great for art journaling. It's particularly helpful or useful if you have quotations, like inspirational quotes, or just express something that you want to say. There's hand lettering, there's calligraphy, and then there's typography. So there's 3 different styles. So this is from Rent. It's a quote. It says, "How do you measure a year in a life?" So from the musical Rent, if you've seen that, you can do like songs, like for inspiration songs, stuff like that. So I have here just some notes on the differences between these different styles. So I've got calligraphy is the art of writing letters with pressure sensitive tools, usually in a script style. Hand lettering, it's different from calligraphy. So it's actually hand drawing the letters in any style that you want to use. So I do what's called faux calligraphy, but basically I write my own cursive, and then I do faux calligraphy where I go in. So I draw this out with like a micron pen, where it's very thin ink, and then what I do is I go in and I create where the downstrokes would be. I create like a line where the downstrokes would be. So the upstrokes are very thin lines, and then the downstrokes I create a very thick line or an outline to represent the difference between the thin and the thickness of the lines in the text that I'm using. So another version is typography. Typography, which is a repeated system of letters. So when I think of typography, I think of like font, like on the internet, like specifically like different fonts that you see on websites or printed up in programs, something that's digital that gets printed. So that could be, you could use like for an art journal for that, just as an example, really easy. If you wanted to have like a typography background, you could cut out like a newspaper clipping and then put some kind of glue on it and then glue it down to your piece of paper, so that you're using, if you wanted to put some like typeface in the background, that would be kind of visually interesting to make your page less, like this page is very white, would make it a lot less white, more black and white, and then kind of, I guess what I'm saying is put in some kind of a background and then build up more visually interesting things as you go, if you're doing more of the collage glue style. So that's one way you could integrate typography. And another way you could do it, if you wanted to create something really pretty and you want to use typography, you could go into, like, if there's a font that you really like but you want to make it, let's say you want to make it like real, like on a piece of paper. I'm gonna show you an example that is not with a quote, but with drawing, but it works just the same as it would for typography. But go onto a digital program like Apple Notes, or you could go into Adobe. They have lots of fonts in there. You could go onto a web-based program like Canva. They have fonts in there that you can look through, or you could just go on like Microsoft Word and look through the fonts that they have on there. Pick a font you like, type it up, and then make it kind of the size, like make it, if you're gonna want to print it out, so make it a size that you like for whatever piece you're creating. So like this, if I'd wanted to do this in not my own cursive handwriting that I use, but more something that's digital that I wanted to recreate here, like oh, it's upside down. How do you measure a year in the life? I could go into Word, pick a font that I liked, type out the font, or type out the quote in the font, print it out. I would use something bigger like this, unless I don't have it here, but I have like a smaller version of this sketchbook that I would use, and I would make it small, or like kind of like the NYC holds the key. If you've seen that video, I'll link it in the description box below so that you can watch it. But that has a combination of like hand letterings and tangles, so it's got a couple different things in there. So, but you print it out, and then what you do is you take your image, pretend that this is an image. So this is on tracing paper. So you put the image behind the tracing paper, trace over the font with a charcoal pencil. So that's what I did here. I had an image behind this and I traced over it using a charcoal pencil. You can use graphite. So let me show you. So graphite would be like a number 2 pencil, which you've probably heard of. A charcoal pencil, it's nice because it, depending on what medium you're using, it doesn't like stick or like leave a residue necessarily behind. Charcoal just seems to work better than graphite. Graphite kind of gets like left behind and it's silvery. So I traced the main image on the front, and then I flipped it over, and then I traced the image on the other side. So here you'd just be tracing letters instead of a bird. So you trace your quote however you want it. Then what you do is you've got it charcoal pencil traced on both sides of the tracing paper. Then, and you can get tracing paper, you can get tracing paper at any like art store, art supply store. Then what you do, because you've got the imprint of the charcoal pencil on the back, you put it on your piece of whatever you're creating on, let's say the sketchbook, and then retrace the front. That way, as you press on it, it'll transfer the image over to your canvas. This was like the finished product from this. This is something I did, God, I don't even remember. I don't think I signed it. 2017, I think, when I got into pastels. And I traced the image. My art teacher was like, if you're not going to enter it into a contest, then it doesn't matter. Take an image or take letters or fonts from online, trace them, and then, transfer it over to the medium you want to put your art on, in this case, this pastel paper, and then, fill it in. So if you're just getting started, that's a great way to kind of explore the different hand letterings that you would like. Nobody has to know. You don't have to tell. Like, I told my husband, and he was like, you trace that? And I was like, yeah. And like, don't tell somebody if you don't want them to judge you for it. Nobody has to know. So I know this is backwards, but this is from Rent as well. How do you measure a life of a woman or a man? Here's one I did where I did a combination of lettering and an image, Seasons of Love from Rent. For our digital, you can do the same thing. We talked about the physical process. You can do that in an app. Like, it's called Procreate, and it's a nice app for just creating digital art, digital paintings. I know that there are other ones. This is a paid version, but it's reasonably priced for what you get. So you could take the piece that you create online on, like, in Microsoft Word, of the font that you like, and then you could actually upload it into a program like an Adobe program or Procreate, and then you can put basically like you take a layer. So think of it like the process that I just explained to you. You import a digital product into the program. And then you have this idea of layers in digital programs or photography or whatever. So think of it as like a piece of tracing paper placed over the image. So pretend this was blank tracing paper. You place it over the image, and it's called a layer, right? So this is what you bring in. This is the layer that you place over it, and it's a blank piece of, think of it like tracing paper. Then you trace over the whatever is behind it, and then you have this is a new layer. You can get rid of this and you could just have this, and then you could fill it in with color or however you want it to. So that's another way to do art. If you want to do it digitally in a program, you can do, there's a lot of hand lettering and stuff out there for digital creators that use like I'm just gonna use Apple as an example because those are the products that I have. But they have like brush pen markers and things that you can use digitally. Just by using your Apple Pencil, you can switch the brush type that you have and make the pencil be that brush type in the digital program. And then, yeah, you could color it in, and then you'd have like your final product, right? This would be the new thing that you traced over your faux art or calligraphy or whatever, and then you'd have like a final product that you could either print or you could post online, and then you could share it with people. Thanks for sticking with me today and listening to me talk about art journaling techniques, and stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more to come on this YouTube channel. See ya. Bye. And if you're interested in more content, you can check out this video here on how to live your best creative life, and you can check out this video here on the whole art journaling challenge. See ya.